My name's Laura Mason. I'm the Senior Programme Manager for Research for Social Care at NIHR. So I work closely with Martin at the school, as well as leading the social care call. So we are actually part of the Research for Patient Benefit Programme. But then we focus purely on social care. So I've just got a little bit of an overview of what we do, just to show you. So basically what we try to do within Research for Social Care is to fund research, to generate evidence, to improve, expand and strengthen the way adult social care is delivered for users of social care services, carers and the public. So we've existed for about 3 years because basically within NIHR, within the Research for Patient Benefit call, it was really seen that actually we weren't giving social care the fair hearing that it really needed, because there was that sort of lack of expertise really on the panel. So something that NIHR worked really closely with the school to understand was how we could set up a call that better reflected the needs of social care and better reflected understanding what it is we needed to be looking at. So we aim to fund 10 to 15 high quality proposals per round, and it's a 2-stage application process. So at the moment we are just on call 3. We're just between stage 1 and 2, so we're about to start reviewing those. But really, in terms of just if you're thinking about applying, I'll tell you a bit more. But actually, we end up with sort of around sort of just less than 40 applications each round. And then we tend to sort of fund around 10 or so of those. So actually your odds aren't bad. And actually, we give really good advice and support. So actually something we really want to do is be working more with people like yourselves and working with RDS to really make sure that we are engaging people in research. So in terms of the kind of projects that we fund, we do expect that any project that we fund has a high degree of involvement from users of social care and social care practitioners throughout the research. And we really mean throughout the research. So as I think was said, we don't want it to be once you've submitted a proposal to say, oh, we'll involve people later. We really expect that involvement to have started when you were during the idea phase. So we very much welcome strong links and collaborations with people who are using social care service users and carers, and those who are providing social care. And we do need it to demonstrate that benefit to care users. It's not about things that would be interesting to know, it's about being able to actually go, as a result of doing this research, this is what we expect to be the difference. And applications can be submitted by universities, local authorities or NHS bodies. So in terms of the kinds of proposals, so these might be evaluating social care needs and relevant outcomes, or developing a more robust evidence base. So looking at how can we improve ways of working, as well as looking at new ways of delivering social care. So I'll show you a few examples of the kinds of things that we've funded in the past. So we've got a real range, I think has been highlighted in previous talks. Social care is obviously a very broad area with a broad number of different users and different needs. So there's a lot of different types of research that we can be doing. So, for example, we have funded research around supporting adults with learning disabilities. So there was a study on mental capacity and personal finances. So it was a qualitative study of actually looking at what kind of assessment and support can be developed to support adults with learning disabilities to make better financial decisions, to be more empowered, to have that information and support that they really need. And we also have done more kind of funded more sort of overviews. So there's, for For example, we've done we funded research on examining the impact of local area coordination in order to, as a preventative initiative. And that was actually done through participatory action research. So again, kind of, I think has been highlighted, we mainly fund qual research, but we're very interested if there are things like data reviews, analysis, or sort of more quant style pieces of research. So we're really, it's very much, I suppose, methodology neutral. It's really about making sure that it has that impact for people. And we do take applications up to 350k, and they can be up to 3 years in length, while other calls do kind of have tiers, expecting different types of research to cost different amounts. That's not something that we have within social care, but we do expect, you know, if you're right at the limit, if you're at 350k, then we really need that to have that really strong link to impact, rather than being something that's quite exploratory and maybe a little way off that pathway to impact. It's worth saying we do only fund adult social care, including the transition from children's into adult social care. That's just due to the sort of funding that we get from the department, but yeah, that's something. A moment. Oh, and just also, if you are, as well as obviously going to the RDS for support, we do have a link on the Research for Social Care site, where if you want to just check whether you're in scope, we're very happy to take a look at that as well. And just so you have an idea, I think really our procedure is quite similar to quite a lot of other calls as well, so it's definitely worth thinking about. During our stage 1 assessment process, we really look at the social care, has it got that social care benefit? While, you know, does the research question actually feel relevant to carers, users, wider social care? Obviously, if you can't tell us why it's important, then it's very unlikely we're going to fund it. So that's something that's really important. Are the methods right? And particularly for social care, are the methods acceptable to care users and to carers? If it is placing an unfair burden, then really it's worth considering all of those different options. And is the proposed team appropriate? Have you got the right expertise? Have they done similar studies with similar groups of people? For example, if you're doing something on dementia, have they worked with people with dementia before? There are things we need to think about there. And just around, actually, does it feel right, I suppose, is the competitive of the application. So actually, will a number of changes need to be made, or does it feel kind of generally what it is that we're looking for? And just so you're aware, so applications to RfSC can be submitted by universities, local authorities, or NHS bodies. And they do need to be based in England, but collaborators can be outside of England if justified. And it's really important that applications have strong links and collaborations with relevant organisations who actually deliver social care. Again, we're hoping that that links that impact piece. Obviously, if you don't have those links to those who actually deliver the social care intervention you might be looking at, then that suggests that that impact might be a bit far off, or you might not be looking at the right area. So that's something we're really keen on seeing. And I just wanted to highlight for our upcoming rounds, so coming up in September, we're actually working with the charity Autistica, which we're really excited about. So we know that actually within autism, quite a lot of researchers are already researching topics that align with social care, but they might not consider themselves social care researchers. That's just due to that area being sort of not as focused on as before, and they might not fit the typical definitions of social care research. So this is a kind of opportunity for those researchers to say, oh, actually, I am a social care researcher, I can apply for this funding. And we do know that there are gaps in terms of the actually understanding around autism, what works in terms of services and support. So Autistica are really keen to build that capacity through investment at all levels with a focus on autistic service users. So over the next 3 years, Autistica is going to be running grant development awards to support research teams to develop applications for research funding, specifically focused on adult social care for autistic people. We're then hoping that as a result that they can then apply for the Research for Social Care Award. So they will be partnering, so Autistica will be partnering with Research for Social Care to provide £500,000 for 5 grants per year. So that's up to a cost of £100,000. So that's an additional to the 350,000. So it's definitely worth considering if your research is going to be covering autism, as that basically allows you to do more. So that's something to definitely take a look at, and we hope you'll be interested in. And just to say that it uses community-generated priorities from Autistica's James Linda Lyons Priority Setting Partnership and a social care summit that Autistica ran. And so just in terms of how calls have run in the past, so really most recently there were, so for the call that we has sort of ended at last year, there were 8 applications recommended for funding. The total value of this was 2.15 million. So actually the budget for that year was at 3 million. So actually please be aware that we can fund more awards if the quality is there. So there's definitely a demand there that we have. So very interested in that. And these are 5 key things for a successful Research for Social Care application, but I do think that these apply kind of across the board, as well as kind of the clear research question and rationale and the social care benefit and appropriate methods. Another thing that we really want to talk about is that suitable involvement plan, as well as involving them in the start of the research. Also thinking about what does that impact look like? How are you going to make sure that your research findings get into the right hands? And that's something we're really keen to kind of work with yourselves, with any applicants from the very beginning, to start thinking about how that will be, how that will go ahead, actually matter. I think actually in terms of the research question, I think I've probably covered this, and I think it's probably come up in a few. Yes, I think do definitely consider what the trajectory to impact is, and think about it from the perspective of the care user, the carer, and the wider social care benefit. I would definitely recommend, and do tell us the story about how the methods provide a clear answer to the question, because we have a lot of great expertise on the panel, but sometimes we do need that understanding of actually how do you say that, say, economic analysis is going to get that information that we really need. And just be really make sure that you are including the literature in the background. So quite often I've sort of sat in committee meetings and they've gone, actually there's been this report, there's loads of literature in this area, but they've not included it. That does therefore create worries within the committee that maybe this will be replicating previous information, or that they don't have the right amount of experience. And making sure that you do understand that recruitment can be really challenging. So making sure that there is a lot of sort of openness in terms of these are how you might overcome potential problems in recruitment. And just to say in terms of the timings for Research for Social Care Call 4, so this is the one we're also partnering with Autistica, but we do want to also take in applications from every area. So it will be launching on 30th of September. So we will be running hopefully some other events with RDS ahead of that, where we'll also be able to take more specific questions about the call, talk through things. That will then close in sort of late Jan, leaving you with the kind of final outcome August. So it does, it is a little bit of a long process, but once things have, once those products have been chosen, we can then go ahead. But those are, and also just to say that there are other activities around research for social care going on across NIHR. So as you saw Martin mention, the School for Social Care Research are doing key things in this area, so it's definitely worth checking their site, as well as other things that might be happening in other areas. But this is if you always are sort of checking the NIHR site, that's always very helpful.